And then the last one I want to talk about really was the most problematic for me. And anyone that I read this ballot question to on the Safe Harbor Fund, they all said, well, that sounds like a good idea. These are my conservative constitutional friends. And again, it's deceptive ballot language, and if you don't mind, if you'll indulge me, I want to read this to you. Shall the Constitution of Georgia be amended to allow additional penalties for criminal cases in which a person is adjudged guilty of keeping a place of prostitution, pimping, pandering by compulsion, solicitation of sodomy, masturbation for hire, trafficking of persons for sexual servitude, or sexual exploitation of children, and to allow assessments on adult entertainment establishments to fund the Safe Harbor for Sexually Exploited Children Fund. And listen to this next line. To pay for care and rehabilitative and social services for individuals in this state who have been or may be sexually exploited. But you see in the language, we're expanding sexually exploited to include young people who are participating in sexual activities voluntarily. We're making them victims under this enabling legislation. And then this again also, the Safe Harbor Fund is another situation of taking taxes. We're going to tax the adult entertainment industry. And a lot of people say, well, so that's good. So bad people. We should tax the stew out of them. It'll cause them to go out of business. Well, when you really look at unintentional consequences, what many people believe is the smaller adult entertainment industry may not be able to pay the fines, which are, by the way, 1% of their annual revenue from the previous year, gross revenue, or a minimum of $5,000, whichever is greater. So what probably we'll see is the smaller businesses who can't afford to pay that fine, they'll start shutting their doors, but so be it for the larger businesses. And there was one I looked up, they have revenue of over $1 million a year, one establishment. They will be able to absorb all those extra customers because we're not going to stop immoral behavior. We know that. As much as we'd like to legislate that, it's not going to stop. We will empower the larger adult entertainment industry. And this is not my opinion. This is the opinion of many people out there. And I kind of go along with it. We'll empower them with more revenue to be able to pay the fine and stay in business. We're not going to stop the problem that this legislation is trying to prevent, and that is our children being sexually exploited in the first place. That legislation was passed in 2011 when our legislature decided to put extra penalties on individuals that are found guilty of these crimes, up to $100,000 fine and longer prison sentences. So now they want to do an extra $2,500 fine on individuals and put it directly into a fund run by the Safe Harbor Commission, another appointed commission that's going to get direct access to tax revenue. No general legislative oversight. So that's 3 non-elected commissions on these 4 referendums. This is a slippery slope we're going down. How does the Soviet Union run their government? Appointed councils primarily, right? So we're going down that slippery slope. Sue Ella Deadweiler also had very interesting comments on this. And most of you know Sue Ella Deadweiler. She's our citizen lobbyist at the state capitol for the last 30 years, and she's the author of Georgia Insight. Well, she sees the definition of victim being changed. So even those young people who are participating voluntarily in sexual activities could now be classified as a victim and qualify for social services, including housing, medical, and other social services. We're expanding the welfare state. We're awarding bad behavior. She finds that problematic. So do I. So for these three reasons, unelected council managing direct access to funds, our elected representatives will never have access to this money if we amend our Constitution. It will never go in the general fund. And the change in victim status, these are issues that we need to be really understanding. We don't need to amend our state constitution to create these unauthorized unelected councils. We can help victims directly through our General Assembly, through our elected representatives in the budgetary process, if that's what we want to do.